Recently, Reuters Ipsos had a poll where they asked Americans, who do you think is the most trustworthy to lead the military? You know what the answer was? Feel the burn. Bernie Sanders, number one. 38% thought Bernie Sanders was the most trustworthy to lead the military, 31% Hillary Clinton, 26% Donald Trump, 20 to Ted Cruz, 19 to Kasich, and poor Marco Rubio down at 16%. Now, isn't that interesting? Because if you listen to the mainstream media, they say Marco Rubio is the one that's always talking about foreign policy and how he's tough and he's going to invade people and he's going to bomb them, and he has the most foreign policy experience in that regard. First of all, no, he doesn't. He's a first-term senator. He's surrounded himself with neocons and war hawks, so the mainstream media says that means the American people think that Marco Rubio is going to do better than that. No, they don't. They don't think that in the Republican primary where he's getting killed. And when you flat out ask them, they're like, no, he's at the bottom. He's not at the top. He's at the bottom. And the mainstream media, I mean, when you listen to Bernie Sanders, the commander-in-chief, come on, I don't think the American people are ready for that. Well, you never asked them, did you? Now you asked them, and it turns out they said, yeah, we're ready for that. We've got him at number one, way above the Republicans. Now, Reuters did the poll, and listen to their description of it and the framing of it. Quote, who do Americans think would be the most trustworthy person to lead the nation's military? The answer may surprise you. According to a new Reuters Ipsos poll, the highest scoring candidate for the post is Democrat Bernie Sanders. Now, I put inflections there in how I read it, I know that, but the words are right there. Because for the establishment media, Bernie Sanders trusted with the military, well, he wouldn't invade anyone, he wouldn't bomb anyone. Oh, maybe that's why he's most trusted. But that thought never occurred to them. That's why it's like, what happened? What is this? I mean, it's surprising to have a Democrat up there because we're told that the Republicans who like to be more interventionist and be more warlike, hawk-like, etc., are the ones that Americans trust. It turns out that's not the case. You just ask them, and they'll tell you. They trust Bernie Sanders. Now, Reuters has done the poll. This is very clear. You can do another one. It'll come out with the same result. Do you think going forward, now that this is incredibly clear, that the rest of the establishment media, or even Reuters itself, will acknowledge the American people would like Bernie Sanders to lead the military? They find him the most trustworthy. They will never speak of it again. And the next time the topic comes up, everyone you see on TV will say the exact opposite. I tell you ahead of time so you can say, oh yeah, okay, now I get it, I trust them, that's exactly what happened. You'll see. If you find any instance in the establishment media where they talk about no, let's be very clear. The American people do not trust the Republicans on handling the military. They trust Bernie Sanders a lot more. Good luck trying to find that. Okay, now that's the reality. Now, one more thing about this. They asked about Donald Trump within just Republicans. Now, this earlier result was for everybody. This is just in the Republican primary they asked. And I love their surprise here as well. Reuters asked the commander-in-chief question a second time in this election cycle to see if there was a change as Trump continued to express his admiration for Russian leader Vladimir Putin, Trump's embrace of waterboarding as an interrogation technique, and his threats to take out the families of suspected militants. The answer, Republicans are even more trusting of Trump as commander-in-chief than they were in December. According to the Reuters Ipsos poll, from March 10th through 13th, 51% of Republicans said they trust him in the position, compared with 41% for Ted Cruz, 30% for Rubio, and 29% for Kasich. In the earlier December poll, that number was at 42%. It's gone up to 51%. Now, establishment media, how many times do I have to say this? Because apparently you continue to be shocked and chagrined by this. Republican primary voters don't support Donald Trump despite his savagery, racism, and discrimination. They support him because of his savagery, racism, and discrimination. So you're like, oh, wow, even though he said those horrible things about torture and killing innocent family members, despite that, his numbers went up. No, because of that, his numbers went up. That's what the Republican primary voters want. They've said it 1,000 times. They've voted in that way 100 times. When are you going to get it through their head? They are racist. They are vicious. They are barbarians. But you can't say that because I got to be neutral. Now, unless I'm framing it in a different direction, and I tell you the Republicans are always great at war and Bernie Sanders is not trusted. Oops, turns out the American people think the exact opposite.